All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Shout out to Open Up in the chat. He says he's at the gym right now, multitasking, and I know he's a gym regular. He's also a great contributor to the community. And if you live in a small town, you don't have a gym in your area, you can always work out right in your house. There's a lot of exercise you can do with your own body. You don't even need any equipment. Push-ups, sit-ups. You can usually get a pull-up bar in the door jam, an ab roller. You can get one of those for $10. And an ab roller is a great workout. It might be very challenging at first, but baby steps, you work your way up. Again, so many people make excuses about why they can't exercise. Really, there's zero excuses. Your own body, using your own weight as resistance, is something anyone can do. Push-ups and sit-ups go a long ways. Um, jump rope, great source of cardio, works the legs. Again, and some gym equipment that fits in the house is also very inexpensive, and you can do wonders with. Bowflex Max Trainer. You can get the base model. It's totally sufficient. You can buy them used for about $250. You put in 5 minutes a day on that. Go hard for 5 minutes. Again, if you can do more than 5 minutes, that's great. But I mean, just all of these little things add up. And I've always found it crazy how many people are so good at making excuses for why they don't exercise. And, my parents are funny because they're both super hard workers, but they both absolutely hate and despise exercise. For a while, my mom did get in the routine at the gym, but it was short-lived. I've never been able to get my dad in there. I got my dad a little small piece of workout equipment last year. It's just been collecting dust. I really wish my parents would exercise because they're getting older. They're overweight. I hope they live many more years, but they're at the age where, sometimes things just happen. And the way they both like to sit on their rear ends and not move their body, I know they're cutting down on their lifespan, and I haven't been able to motivate them as much as I've tried. And by the way, for people out there who work out and don't lose weight, the main thing about losing weight is actually not exercise, it's diet. It's diet and the way you do eat, your eating routines, the timing, the window of time. But absolutely, exercise is important. It's just, I've heard people say too, oh, I'm working out, I'm not losing any weight. Well, that's because of what you're eating. That simple. Again, let's go back over basic things that everybody can do to maintain a healthy body weight, because this should be the stuff we're learning in kindergarten, especially with what's going on in this crazy, or what I just say, in this country. We might as well stop calling it a country and start calling it a crazy. That was a Freudian slip, but in a way it made sense. This country is crazy because children now, it's insane. The obesity rate in children is almost 50%. And again, just how fast things can happen. I've said it 1,000 times. When I was a child, the elementary school I went to had about 500 children. There was one, fat. Some people don't think that's a nice word, but that was the word then. There was one fat kid out of the whole 500 of us. One. And people did bully and make fun of him. I didn't bully the kid, but I remember how that kid got bullied for being fat. And he wouldn't get bullied today because he would be normal. Now probably 250 out of the 500 kids would be severely overweight. And again, it's easy to see what the difference is. I don't really think there's a big difference in how children are eating today than when I was a child. The one difference actually here, and this might sound like a contradiction from what I said a minute ago, but children decades ago were very active. They're out moving around. They're on the playground. I was just showing out the park by my mom's house. When I moved there, it was always full of kids. And when I did that video, somebody left a comment like, well, that doesn't look like a park for children. It's like, what kind of comment are you leaving? Did you not just hear what I said, that when I moved here 30 years ago, this park was always full of kids? What park isn't for kids? When we were kids, we made up a million different games in the park. We'd play this sport this day, hide and seek the next day, who could climb the highest in the tree the day after that. Again, Listening to that person's comment, I was like, I hope this person's not a parent. I mean, you don't even know how to like help your kid figure out how to play in a park. My goodness. But yeah, children don't go outside anymore because there's so much more fear. It's crazy too because it's actually the safest time ever to be a child in the United States. Like there was more bad stuff going on when I was a child than there is now, and that's because people aren't outside. But it's actually like a pretty safe time to be a child outside if you just turn off the TV and turn off all the fear mongering. And but again, we know that all the Amber Alerts, all the screens everywhere. The not see that's the thing. There didn't used to be screens everywhere. We didn't used to have a screen everywhere at all times of the day getting bombarded with propaganda. If you were going to be getting the screen propaganda, you had to be sitting down in front of your TV. But now it's instantly buzzing in your pocket, all your notifications. Again, parents are trying to keep their child safe by keeping them indoors, and really they're doing them a disservice. That's why half the children are obese. They're actually killing their children. They're killing their children, and it's fear that's driven them to this place where now they just want them to stay in the house and sit in front of the screen and play the video game. And it's tragic. It's tragic. So, anyhow, if you're not a child and you're also suffering from obesity, maybe you're not quite obese, but you have extra pounds that you need to shed, again, figure out a way to work out for at least 5 minutes a day. I mean, 5 minutes isn't that long. I'm sure there's a lot of things you do each day for more than 5 minutes. I'm sure a lot of people sit there with their phone for probably 30 minutes a day doing this, scrolling. If you got 30 minutes a day to do that, which is pretty much just wasting your day, you should have at least 5 to bust out a few exercises. And if you go hard in 5 minutes, you can actually get a lot done. Bust out 100 jump ropes, get down and do as many push-ups as you can, do some crunches, and then hopefully in time graduate beyond 5 minutes. But seriously, 5 minutes a day, it adds up. You can make a tremendous difference to your body in just 5 minutes. You can start to get some muscle definition, shed a few extra pounds. But yeah, that's not the only thing you got to do. You got to fix the diet too, and more important than anything is fixing the diet. And again, I challenge you to do this. I don't like to waste food. So if you have crap in your cupboard or your fridge that you need to get rid of, once that crap is gone, tell yourself you're not going to get that anymore. Soda, you know what? Pretty much the only beverage you need in your fridge is clean water. That's pretty much all you need in there. And add a little lemon to your water. There's some other nice little herbs and stuff you can add to your beverage, but water is really about the only thing you really need to be drinking. And most of these other drinks are just full of sugar that is not good for you at all. And that's definitely adding on the pounds and raising your chance of diabetes and all other kinds of needless illness. And stop looking at labels like, well, this one says 0 calories. Yeah, but what else is in there? Probably some weird, crazy ingredients that in 20 years you're going to find out also kills you. Stick to clean water. And please, when people say things like, oh, I don't like water, I've met people like that say all the time. It's like, that's got to be some kind of psychological thing. I bet if you just start drinking water, you'll get used to drinking water. You've created some kind of addiction where you need to have like some massive sweetener in your mouth because it's an addiction. You need to help your body detox from wanting that. Again, remember these food companies that it might look like there's 100 different brands in the grocery store, but really you start to look that these 100 different brands are probably owned by 3 or 4 companies. Those companies do a lot of research into chemicals that create lifelong addiction. That's their business, to addict you to their junk food that you really don't need. But again, I would encourage you that once all the crap is out of the cupboard in the refrigerator, to not ever put it back in there again. And that might be hard at first because you might very well be addicted, but it's going to take discipline. And I made a radical change in my diet when I was a teenager. And what helped me do that was knowledge. It gave me the motivation to make some radical changes. So if you have the right information and the right motivation and you care enough about yourself, you should find the willpower to make the positive changes. So, all right, let's get rid of all the junk beverages and alcohol as well. I would try to get alcohol all the way out of your system. Everything in moderation. I mean, you're having a little gathering. Few drinks can be fun, makes people more social, maybe more laughs, more jokes are coming out. Too many drinks, though, it might turn into a disaster. But I would make alcohol something that comes up for special occasions, and maybe not even that. Again, remember alcohol. It's funny how alcohol and sugar have the exact same gematria, and they both equal 33, like how prohibition ended in 33, which was a federal operation on humanity. A lot of lives were destroyed as soon as it happened, and many more have been destroyed since. But yeah, again, in terms of what you're putting in your body for fluids, try to make it mostly water. And again, water with a little lemon in it is good for you as well. So if you don't like the flavor of water, I'm guessing you don't mind it with some lemon. Another nice thing that can go in water that makes the flavor pleasant is a little cucumber. Little cucumber, that's healthy for you too. Something I like personally. I don't know if everyone likes this. I like putting carrots in water and just like setting it in the fridge, and then I like drinking the water lately. I like the carrot flavored water too. That's me. These things aren't bad, and again, a lot healthier than soda, and I enjoy the flavor of all of them. All right, so if we can get past the junk beverages, not only are you going to do wonders for your body, you're going to save a lot of money too. My eyes are. I'm blown away every time I go in the store. Is as expensive as sodas become. I mean, when I was a kid, soda was dirt cheap, and so were a lot of junk food. Now it's all become very expensive, but I still see people packing their carts with it. And I'm just like, man, I would have thought people would have curbed with the soda and the chips based on how expensive this has become. A bag of Doritos for $6.99. I mean, that's like the common price out here in the store. I'm like, $6.99. This is insanity. I mean, they're terrible for you, and now they're super expensive. Find better things to do with your money. And think about it this way, too, you guys. All of this crap you're putting in your body, it's going to cause other expenses down the road. That's for sure. You're going to have some health expenses down the road from putting all this toxic food in your body. So every time you're eating this, I just think, okay, someday this is going to be a medical expense if it's not already. Again, the most profitable part of every grocery store that has a pharmacy is the pharmacy. And almost all the drugs that people are getting have to do with diet. It's not an accident. It's an agenda, and they're trying to make you part of that agenda. They're trying to make you a statistic in that agenda. Okay, moving on from beverages. Food. Again, look at what's on the label of a food box. If it's in a box, it's going to be processed food, right? And you can rank things in terms of processed food. You could say that none of it is really good for you, but there's rankings to how much worse it can get. If there's an ingredient on the box and you don't know what it is, it's a word you cannot pronounce, from this day forward, I would never buy that again. I would never buy that again. That didn't come from nature. That is some man-made ingredient. A lot of these things are the ones that these companies have spent buku dollars on creating because they create a real addiction in your body. Eric Schlosser wrote the book 20 some years ago, Fast Food Nation. I read that book, Diet for a New America, which is written by the son of the founder of Baskin and Robbins. And shoot, I cannot think of the other book I wrote at the time. It was a book written before I was even alive about the underlying root causes of cancer. But there were 3 books I read as a teenager, and I read them all in real close proximity to each other. And I was ready to radically change my diet. I was just like, wow, why didn't I learn about all this? Why, in the 13 years of slave school, why didn't they teach me about this? But I really did enjoy reading Fast Food Nation at the time. And I know they made it into a movie. The movie's really nothing like the book. So if you've seen the movie, don't think that that's like what the book's like. The book's a lot different. But yeah, food. I would try to not buy things in a can ever. Unless it's your surplus stockpile of food in case the power goes out. That's my one exception for canned food. And like I said, if you have a stockpile of black beans in the cupboard in case the power goes out, because again, black beans are filling and nutritious and full of protein and inexpensive. That's the reason to eat canned food. If the power's out and it's your supply. And again, if the food's going to expire, you've had your emergency fly there. It's getting months away from expiration. Okay, make some black bean tacos. Put some black beans on the salad. All the different things you can do with beans. Make some soup. Occasionally it's probably okay, but the reason I say not to eat things in cans is because there's a lot of research that what's really going on with the Alzheimer's and the dementia is it's the leaching of these metals that do in trace amounts get into the food, and then when they go in our bloodstream, they might be, clogging up our little synapses in our brain, and the next thing you know, after a lifetime of eating this stuff, your mind doesn't work by the time you're in your 70s. I got a nice little lady that lives across the street with her son and his wife. And he came over and told me one day that it's so hard because she's losing her mind. She's in her middle of 70s. She's the sweetest lady. Her name is Betty. And I know some days she's a lot sharper than others, but it's like some days she's out there like wandering around and you can tell like she doesn't know why she's out there and she's like having trouble finding her words. And, you feel bad for Betty. But I know she's very skinny and I can tell she likes to walk around, but her mind is, even though she's only in her mid 70s, her mind is, it's not all the way there. And again, there's a lot of toxic metals in all kinds of things. There's some cities water supply is a lot worse than others. The stuff that's coming down from the sky that they tell us is what are you talking about? That's just conspiracy theory crap. It's like, I don't think so. I see like spider webs raining out of the sky again today. Reminder, foods that help cleanse toxic metals from the body: cilantro and parsley. And cilantro is a lot cheaper than parsley. Usually you get a bushel of cilantro for between 50 cents and $1, depending on your market. Make sure you wash it, though, because it's usually full of sand. Try to get organic if you can afford it. Parsley, though, is usually around $3 a bushel. But yeah, putting these things in your food each day helps cleanse your body. So if you don't like these things, you can learn to like them and tolerate them. Again, the once your mind knows why you need to be eating certain things, suddenly your mouth can find them a lot more tolerable. And then also once you get used to eating them, you might be like, oh, how did I used to not like this? I actually enjoy this now. There are other things that cleanse toxic metals from the body, but again, cilantro is a very affordable one, and I like to recommend it because it's one of my personal favorites. We eat this again. My sweet lady, she's from Burma, and they have a traditional salad that they like to eat called lepeto. We're always eating a lot of lepeto, and there's always cilantro in it. And again, you can always sprinkle cilantro on almost anything you make. If you're a pasta person, usually parsley goes a little bit better with pasta, but you can sprinkle some parsley on it. Soup, you can sprinkle parsley or cilantro. Smoothies, you can just blend it up in there. So again, I think that's a necessary food that you should be eating. It's a toxic world, and all of us are being subjected to metals from all over the place that our ancestors wouldn't have had to compete with. But yeah, sugary drinks, out of here. Alcohol, definitely minimize. There's a lot of marketing that red wine's good for your heart. I don't think it's really true. There's definitely more negative effects from that red wine than there is positive. But a glass here and there for fun. I mean, special occasion, like I said. But back to the food thing. Minimize processed food as much as possible. As much as possible. Again, bulk section, produce section. I ate vegan for a lot of years, but I haven't been vegan for quite a while now. Sweet lady, she swears she needs a little meat in her diet. We end up eating more fish than meat, but um, try if you got to eat meat, fish. Try to make sure you're getting free range fish that's caught in a river or an ocean, not a farm. You know, the fish raised farm, they like have them in a little tank all crammed in there together, and pretty sure they're all floating around in each other's poop, and it's just not right. But again, that can be very expensive. So we do our shopping at a store called Grocery Outlet. Um, Grocery Outlet, what's nice about them is they oftentimes have stuff from local producers. So you can actually like drive by and be like, oh, this came from there. Um, and like the grocery outlet by our house, they always, I shouldn't say always, sometimes they don't, but they almost always have free range beef. So when we get beef, we that's almost always what we get. It's grass fed, free range, no hormones, steroids, antibiotics. So a part of me would I always felt best about my diet when I was vegan. I did just fine on a vegan diet, but sweet lady thinks her gums and teeth don't do so well. And again, there is something to the blood type diet. So anyway, as they say, happy wife, happy life. But yeah, try to know where your food is coming from. Another place that we've gotten beef from in recent years is my friend Token Tim. His sister runs an open range cattle ranch in Montana, and she comes through a couple times a year, and we'll buy from her. We know that what she's doing is legit. But again, if you just have the raw ingredients, it's not processed. Yeah, again, it might have pesticides and stuff on it. If you're not growing it yourself, it's hard to know. I'd encourage everyone to get, a fruit wash, fruit vegetable wash. Make sure you're washing your stuff before you cook it, because the pesticides on the food can be toxic as well. But yeah, again, making food your medicine, spending that extra time just doing little things like that to make sure that you're making what you're eating as safe as possible. It is worth the time. A lot of people make excuses that they don't have time, but then we know that's not true, because people are sitting around watching Netflix all night, scrolling on their phone, playing video games, out at the mall shopping. Again, make food a central point. And instead of like looking at it as like, oh, I don't want to take the time to cook, figure out a way to change the mindset and make it fun. Like, oh, I'm going to do a new recipe. I'm going to figure out how to make this better than I've ever made it before. I'm doing this because I know it's good for my health. I mean, mindset is everything. So yeah, again, every time I go outside, I think, I've spent the last 11 years of my life trying to wake people up to the tyranny and how they're operating. And I'm not mad that I've spent the time that way, but I'm like, maybe it would have been better just trying to get people to eat healthy every day, because it looks like half the people are about to die around me as big as they are in this store. I'm just blown away by how many people let themselves go. I guess it's a reflection of the way Americans feel about life, right? That's kind of my takeaway is like, people, if you don't care about your appearance, it has something to do with how unhappy you are about the state of affairs in the world. And one other thing I do realize is a lot of people, because they are on pharmaceutical drugs, a lot of these pharmaceutical drugs also cause bodies to balloon. So that's another thing to think about. If you're on drugs that are causing these, significant weight gains, what can you do to get off of those drugs? Again, antidepressants can cause weight gain. Anti-anxiety meds can do it. What can you do so that you don't need to be on these medications anymore? I think when people have purpose in their life, that's fulfilling. Um, and to create purpose in your life, you gotta tell yourself, like, what's important. Well, what can I do that makes me feel valued and that I'm doing something valuable not only for myself but for others? So, I mean, there's a lot of components to what's going on, but it is just, you know, I know we have good people in this community who are severely overweight. There's probably a gentleman in the chat right now. He's a great guy. He traveled halfway across the nation to come out and pound payment with us in Seattle. I know he has several children. I don't know if he's improved. He mentioned something about his own weight that day when he's out on the streets with us in Seattle. If you're out there, I hope you've made an improvement there, not only for yourself but the sake of your children. Because you and I both know, let's be straight up, if you continue to carry all that weight around, you are not going to live as long as you should, and that means you're not going to be around as long as you should with your own children and family. And I mean, maybe if your children are grown and they're beyond needing the help of Dan, it's a little bit different topic, but I'm sure they would still like for you to be around as long as you possibly can. And another thing is not lying to yourself. If my mom's out there, she's gonna get mad, but I got to pick on my mom. Again, I just spent a week with my mom to visit her, and because she's let herself, get big, she's limping around everywhere. Her legs hurt. I was out there. We're going on walks each day, but we could only walk for so long because her feet are hurting. I mean, this is what happens. Use it or lose it. And if you let yourself go too far, it's really hard to get back in the game because you're so far behind the 8 ball. Again, now your body is aching. It's painful to even walk. But I said to my mom, I said, really, I said, if you can get the weight off, it's going to, the limping's not going to be as bad. I said, Mom, the best thing you can do right now is eat in a smaller window of time and stop with all the snacking. And she goes, I'm already doing that. See, my mom always acts like she's already doing everything she needs to be doing, and I know it's not true. So I said, okay. So I said, what's your window of time you're eating in right now? Is it 8 hours? Is it 6 hours? Is it more than that? She goes, it's probably about 6 hours. I said, okay. So, observation day 1. My mom wants to eat as soon as she's up, 7 a.m. She wants to eat at 7. I say, okay, well, if we eat right now, if we're eating in a 6-hour window, that means we're not eating anything after 1 p.m. She's like, that's about what I normally do. So anyway, she's eating in the morning. She's eating lunch. Now it's dinner time. She wants to eat dinner at like 5 or 6. I said, well, I thought we were doing the eating in the window. She's like, well, we got to eat dinner. I said, well, wait a minute. You said you're eating in like a 6-hour window. She goes, we got to eat dinner. I'm like, I said, well, we're not doing the window thing. She's like, what do you want for dinner? And then when my mom eats, just the servings are always so big too. And I'm just like, my dad does that as well. They like big servings, eating more than they need to eat at one time. I mean, my mom is 5'2". She shouldn't need to eat like she's a linebacker. But so anyway, we're eating dinner. Once we're done with dinner, we're done with dinner. 30 minutes have been gone by. You feel like some popcorn? I'm like, Mom, we're already way over the window. We just ate dinner. We don't need to eat anymore. Oh, how about a little popcorn? I'm like, no. I'm trying, Mom, seriously, you got to do something about it. The limp, I mean, if you're going to eat around the clock, nothing's going to change. So the next day she skips breakfast. Well, I think she skipped breakfast. I don't know. My mom's sneaky. But we didn't eat until about like 11:30 because I said if we eat 11:30, if we eat around 5:36, we're kind of doing the window thing if we can do this. So I thought day 2 we're doing better. So that night, so I thought we were doing better on day 2. Then that night, she's up in her chair where she watches TV, and she needed me to plug something in for her because she's in her chair and she didn't want to get up. It's hard for her when she gets out of the chair. So I go to plug the thing in behind the chair, and I'm like, what is this, Mom, behind the chair? She's like, oh, that must have been back there. I was like, nah, it wasn't back there. The ice cream bowl with the ice cream traces all wet and still cold around the edge. Somehow she snuck some ice cream real quick. I'm just like, and she's like, oh, I don't normally get that. It's just because you're in town. Oh, my God. It's just like when I was a little kid. I told you guys a story when I was a little kid. I remember the day I got in her car and I was like, "Oh, you went to McDonald's today?" Because we never went out when I was a kid. I mean, we almost, I'm telling you, I grew up on Ritz crackers, ramen noodles, and salami. I thought those were the three foods that everybody ate. But I remember still the day that I found in her car, she had like a big old, like the huge cup, and it had, you could tell it had a vanilla milkshake left. I was like, "You went to McDonald's today?" She's like, "Oh, no, I didn't go there. Somebody must have put that in my car." But yeah, it's just so my mom eats around the clock. She snacks all day and makes excuses. If that's you, uh, you're only cheating yourself. You're only cheating yourself. And yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't know why more people don't want to take care of themselves. So yeah, my mom doesn't like when I call her out on these streams, but sorry, mom, I just got to do it because there's other people like you. Don't feel alone. I'm sure there's at least probably at least 150 million people just like you in the country. So I'm sure it's a relatable story to a lot of people. But yeah, you can't make excuses. I mean, if you're really trying to be healthier, you got to be about it, and you can't lie to yourself. It's funny. Just a weird thing that I just got to mention. It doesn't really have to do with health. But when I went down to visit my mom, um, we put on the Denzel Washington movie, The Equalizer, and I thought it was so weird. I thought it was so weird that right at the beginning of the movie, he's got the book on the table, The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. I haven't talked about this for years, but my mom was born on the day that that book was published, September 8th, 1952. And then my birthday, July 21st, is also Ernest Hemingway's birthday. So I thought it was so weird that the first movie my mom and I watched when we were down there was that. And then the movie just starts with him reading a book at the tail. I was like, of all the books that could have been this movie, what are the odds of that? So anyway, let's open up the phone line, the call board. The number's on the screen. We only got one person on hold. If you want to share your diet story, or what you're trying to do with diet, or what you've learned about diet, or the struggle you're trying to overcome, anything diet related is the topic. Health related. I guess it could go beyond diet too, just health period, which can also be mental health. So any tips or advice you have, or even if you just want to call in and share your story, it's all fair game. So let's go out to 443. What's up, 443?
Hey, how you doing? I love the fact that you're on this topic, and I've actually spoken about it without this being a topic, but I specifically love it that you're talking about diet, nutrition, and everything, because I made a transformation almost 2 years ago that I will promote to anyone. And the only thing I regret about it is that I didn't know about it when I was 26 instead of 56. And it has everything to do with ridding your body of the bad parasites and bacteria that all of us as mammals are susceptible to each and every day, especially with the bullshit foods that most people eat. And what I started out doing was, first of all, eliminating all sugar. And I don't care what you say about alcohol, I got rid of it all, even on special occasions. The only thing I drink is, besides black coffee, and I know that's not good for you either, really, but I drink a gallon of fresh squeezed lemon water every day. That's it. That's the best way to stay hydrated. With the lemons, and have something for the cells to grab a hold of, as opposed to just regular water. It just flushes right through you.
Hold on. I'm glad you made the point about lemon water. You guys, there's also strategies to eating that can actually help your health. So like if you have lemon water and you drink that before you eat, it will minimize the way your blood sugar spikes when you eat. And again, the spiking of blood sugar, you want to minimize the spike. Read about that. There's all kinds of reasons, but it's like a strategic thing. Just like how eating a salad before you eat your main dish can help with metabolism and you digesting your food. So that there is an order of operations that can be useful when you consume food. Okay, go back to what you were saying, please.
So that's 100% correct. And also, when lemons metabolize in the body alkaline, which it also helps to keep parasites out of your body. Parasites cannot live in an alkaline environment. They need that hot, acidic, sugary environment. So I got rid of all sugar. I got rid of all processed carbs, mostly the biggest ones, pasta and breads. And you said something about ingredients. So I eat a lot of almonds. And I'm not going to, I keep it simple. I look at a bag of almonds, and if the ingredients say other than almonds and maybe sea salt, I don't buy it. And you can, ingredients, if it says anything on there other than what it's supposed to be, it stays on the shelf. I eat whole meat, nothing fancy, maybe some dry rubs and that sort of thing on chicken and fish and beef. I usually cook it on the grill. A good metal detox, along with what you were saying about cilantro and parsley, flax seeds and hemp seeds. Really any dark green leafy vegetable is good. So the biggest thing that I do with all of this is I take ivermectin twice a day, and that kills the parasites. I don't know if I just busted your channel by saying that, because I know that the censorship, they don't want anyone knowing about ivermectin, especially what I take in the form of horse paste. And I'll tell you why I take that is because the horse paste is the purest form of ivermectin in this country, because the bullshit pharmacists, including the ivermectin pills, all the pills are watered down. The purest form is, you'll like this, there's not one single manufacturer of the horse paste that could afford the lawsuit that any Kentucky Derby breed of horse owners would definitely sue. That tells you they care more about fucking horses and animals than humans, our food industry. The other thing, it cleanses the pineal gland. And I know you've said a lot of times, there's a lot of people who have calcified pineal glands, making them morons. You want to wake people up? Push them onto that. Push them on to cleaning out your pineal gland. I swear by it. I've been on this for 2 years. There's a lot of medical crap that I've had that is gone. Arthritis, gone. All kinds of stuff as a 50-year-old, 56-year-old would have. Gone. I feel in better health than I was when I was in my 20s in the military. I do 2 sets of 50 push-ups every day, and otherwise I walk. And when I go on walks, it doesn't look like I got to go take a shit. I go on casual walks, and I try to do it barefoot. Like right now, I'm walking in the grass barefoot, grounding myself. I'm so happy that I get to talk about this topic. I hope I don't take your channel down when I mention.
Well, that's why it feels kind of old, my guy, because every time you call in, you have to bring it up, and you know that they do censor for it. We've already gone over this probably 50 times in the last 2 years, and then you call in and do it again. So at this point, it feels like more than a gimmick. So yeah, I'm not real happy about that. We'll leave it there. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. But yeah, see, that's the thing. Again, you should be able to talk about stuff, but these are the types of things that, for whatever reason, that big tech censoring certain things and looking for buzzwords. He's called in so many times, and he loves to plug that. And literally, like, he'll call into my sports stream and start plugging that. And I've just asked him so many times to stop, but he just keeps doing it. So, I mean, at this point, it's beyond disrespectful. Let's go out to 206. What's up, 206?
Greetings, Zach from the North Cascades.
Yeah, what's up?
First time caller. Really wanted to chime in on this topic because you a lot of people don't, with the gematria angle, you don't cover necessarily taking care of the mind and the body. And I think, the biggest thing I think is staying away from Big Pharma and, things like vaccine. And that's probably one of the main things you do to maintain, peak health as you age. I've been plant-based for many years now. It's rare for me to get sick. I went 3-4 years. That whole span of COVID, I never once got sick. I lost my job for not getting the vaccine. And I'm a firm believer in vegetable juices and limited processed foods, no coffee, no alcohol, limited sugar, getting outside and getting air and just, and meditating a little bit. And most people don't. They're on their fast food. They're on their phone 24/7. They're in the city breathing toxic air and drinking horrible water, and it shows. We have a nation full of idiots.
Yeah, again, people have been programmed to behave the way they do. In the screens and nonstop marketing of junk food from a young age, you see it. It's conditioned people to eat and live a certain way. So I agree with what you said.
Yeah, and a lot of it's a part of the larger programming of it all. They want you a part of this system where you are perpetually sick and eating trash and in the system, and it's a death system. And I've seen it take some good people that I know out of my life because they might not have agreed with it, and it's a beast. It really is. And the more you can clean up your mind and your body, I think the more you can see through the facade of it all. And I really appreciate your work in exposing a lot of that nonsense of what these controllers do to the largest society.
Well, thank you. Was there anything else you wanted to add on the topic?
Really, I just kind of wanted to encourage people to, think more about what they put in their body. Your food is your medicine, and there's no doubt about it. And as someone who has, been a teacher for a long time and kind of gone in and out of it, you see it starts at a very young age. You go into a public school right now, and you go to a cafeteria, and it's the same as the prison. It's garbage. It's poison. So, you get the kids, used to that, and it's straight to the school to prison pipeline, and it's just that's the world we live into. So you want to educate people and feed their brains with garbage and then indoctrinate them, and this is what you get. You get a nation of idiots, and I think you've done a good job of exposing that over the years. And yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the call.
Take care.
All right, take care, 206. For the troll in the comments, again, I mean, that can't be a serious comment. So, and remember, I gave the mods the authority to just ban anything that looks like it's just straight trolling. If you're calling people morons for not eating fast food, I mean, that can't be a serious comment. So, and the other thing too about fast food now, it's so expensive. I mean, so not only are you doing yourself a disservice, sure, you can eat it, you're not going to die that meal, but you're just putting way too much extra sugar, salt in your body. This is what fast food's notorious for. You're definitely not going to be eating organic. And again, I mean, I'm always blown away by every time I drive by a McDonald's, how many people are waiting in the line. I'm like, okay, by the time you drove to the McDonald's, drive back to your house, wait in the line, you probably, I mean, I can bust out a pretty good meal in 20 to 30 minutes cooking, and I know it's going to be better than McDonald's. So it's not that much slower to do it at home. What's up, 407?
Yeah, what's up, Zach? I like the topic of that you have today, being health and wellness, and I just wanted to touch on a little bit in my personal life. My close family, I have a close family member that has been going through the symptoms of Alzheimer's, and it's way earlier than it should have been. And I kind of noticed that this started during the time of the pandemic, maybe 2-3 years ago, a little bit after, when we were in the middle of it. And, she started having signs, but they weren't really that serious. And a lot of my family, everyone's like, oh, we don't know how this happened or where this came from. And even she had a few episodes that ended up with her being in the hospital, checked in for them to run tests to see if they could find the issues. Physically, she didn't have any issues, but, they did the scans and things, and then they said, yeah, she showed those signs. And I was telling my family that the only thing that changed during the time was the fact that she had, she got the jab, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And mind you, I was the only member of my family who didn't get it, because they all work in healthcare, like nursing, pharmacy. My whole family's in healthcare, so their jobs required it. I kind of work in healthcare, but I work on I work in the IT side, so I could work from home, but I work with the hospital, so it wasn't required for me, so I didn't get it. Even if it was required, I still probably wouldn't have gotten it either. And this is before I found your work. But yeah, ever since she got that, I noticed that her mental ability, her awareness, even her ability to just speak just really declined rapidly. And she's at a state now where, she can't really speak to anyone. You ask her questions, she doesn't speak at all. She could barely answer with yes or no. Physically, she could still move around and walk and do basic things, but like when it comes to functioning, like for example, using a microwave, she can't use the microwave. Everything has to be assisted. So it is very difficult dealing with that. And in my opinion, I already said what I think caused that, but I'm not a doctor, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. Like, health is very, very important. And when it comes to exercise, I mean, when your stream started, I was at the tail end of my gym for today. I was on the treadmill, and I'm on my way home now. But it's very important. Like, something that's very easy that anyone can do is just taking a walk. Like, you don't understand how beneficial walking can be. The thing is that you have to get a good amount of steps in. Take a 30-minute walk. I've never been a big fan of cardio. I do play basketball a lot. That's the only form of cardio that I used to do when I was younger. But I've never been a fan of, just running or things like that. So, I mean, I started walking in January, just getting more steps in. I bought like a walking mat, which was fairly inexpensive and a great investment. So if you're living in a place where the weather is, too hot or too cold, you could get a walking mat, plug it in, get some steps in, and you could even put on a movie, just walk. You won't even notice how many steps you get in. And it's something you could store, like you could just store it under your bed. It doesn't take up a lot of space, which I think that's a good investment there. When it comes to food, I used to work at McDonald's when I was like 17, 18, and I worked there for like a long time, actually, throughout my college days. I worked there for about 5 years. But ever since I left there, I don't really eat fast food, My family has always been, my family is from Africa, so we've always been like more of a cook from home type of family. And I think I grew up and kept that trait. And usually all my meals are home cooked. Every now and then I'll eat like maybe like a Chipotle or something out there, but I've been used to cooking my own meals, and you save a lot of money doing that, and you save your health doing that too. And a lot of things come with the habit. You can start small. Like I said, walking is one of the easiest things you could do. Take a 5-minute walk, start with 5 minutes. And with things like walking, you don't even have to change your diet habits. If you walk and you get a lot of steps, just track your progress. See if you lose a pound in 1 week or something like that. Record how many steps you're getting. I know for about a month span, I would record all the food that I ate without changing anything and just adding the walking. And over a span of, I think, a month and a half to 2 months, I lost over 10 pounds. So just from walking.
And your point about walking, real quick, your point about walking, if you can walk after you eat dinner, that's a great time. Walking after meals. Again, it minimizes your blood sugar spike and you're immediately burning the calories you just put in your body. They say minimal, you should walk 5,000 steps a day. If you walk a mile, you're going to get that. So, and you can walk a mile in about 15, 20 minutes.
Yep. And the thing for me is like, I've always been a big fan of eating. You know, most people love eating food. I love eating great food. So when I started to see my weight start to creep up, I was like, oh, I need to, get this in check. So I just started walking. I get around maybe 15,000 to 20,000 steps a day. And that enables me to eat freely. I don't have to watch what I'm eating. Of course, I eat healthy food, but I don't have to be watching my weight because I know that the walking will balance that out for me. So that's my little advice for everyone here.
Yeah, walking. It might be hard if you live in a place like Portland and Seattle in the cold, wet months. But in that case, find a dry spot in your house and bust out 100 jump ropes. That's a quick cardio that's very effective. So. Yeah.
And then the other thing that I mentioned earlier, the walking mat. I got one off Amazon. I think it was around $180 to $250 for a walking mat, and it's kind of a one-time purchase type of thing. Just plug it in, walk 2 miles per hour, 3 miles per hour for 30 minutes. You'll get thousands of steps in just doing that, and you could keep it inside. So people with who live in areas with bad weather, that's another option for them.
Yeah. Yep. Well, great call.
Oh, yeah, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Way to be hitting the gym. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
All right, take care. The comments I keep seeing in the chat about not everyone's metabolism is the same. I understand this is true, but everyone can do things to improve their own metabolism. So again, just so many are so full of excuses. Oh, I have a slow metabolism. Well, do things to improve your metabolism. Exercise, enough fluids, not eating around the clock all day. Again, don't make excuses. Decades ago, overweight people were a rarity. The thing that's changed is the lack of exercise, the sedentary lifestyle where a lot of us are working at computers and desks, just like I am right now, sitting on our butt too much. Again, the adjustments I make in my life. The intermittent fasting is something I do every day. I rarely eat before noon, and I almost never eat after 6 p.m. So I eat in about a 6-hour window of time each day. And I do get in a little bit of exercise every single day. My bare minimum, if I do no exercise for the day, the one thing I make sure I get in is 50 push-ups. So, every day I do at least 50 push-ups. That's the bare minimum. If the day's gone by and I got nothing left, I'm going to get my 50 push-ups in. So, and then I got a pull-up bar around. It's easy to bust out some pull-ups. Again, and I like I showed you guys, I have the little gym in my house. Again, get on the Max Trainer, go hard for 2 minutes, get your heart pumping, get your legs up. Oh yeah, you can do it in 2 minutes on that thing. If you go real hard, it's like sprinting for 2 minutes. You'll feel it. So yeah, when I was younger, I was a lot better. When I was younger, I was in the gym at least 6 days a week, and I was in there every time for at least an hour. And in a way, I should get back to that. It was easier because I had a gym right next to my apartment in Seattle. I got my first gym membership when I was 15. My mom's house had a gym about a half mile away. Jog over to the gym, work out, you know. So anyhow, don't make the excuses about my metabolism slow. Fast, eat better. 401.
Hey,
What's up, 401?
can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to call in about the importance of magnesium. And I feel like vitamins are one of the things that are slept on quite a bit. And the amount that magnesium in particular can do for both your mental health and your physical health, if you have like a lot of physical pain. I've recommended it to a ton of different people, a lot of family members with like arthritis and stuff like that. But magnesium spray, because not a lot of people know that magnesium is absorbed through the skin a lot better than it is through the gut, can be a great way of mitigating pain without pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. For people who don't know, hold on. Something you have to know about magnesium, though, is there's different forms of magnesium that are for different purposes. So you got to research the different forms of magnesium. Yeah. Like one is for relaxation.
Glycinate, all the different types of it, for your mental health, your physical body. It calms your nerves. It gives you more focus and attention. Like, I feel like a lot of people in this world are just starving themselves because they're actually eating food that doesn't have any nutritional value whatsoever.
Right.
So like a lot of this obesity issues, I feel like it's because people are still actually hungry. Like they have that call or that drive for food because they're eating things that are basically nothing. Like pet food with just grains and fillers in it. It's nothing. And these cats get huge because the people are feeding them cheap garbage food, even to their pets too. And you see like all these funny videos online with all these fat animals that are like gonna die sooner than they should because they're feeding them garbage food.
Right.
And people are doing the same thing. They're filling themselves up with nothing but fillers, and they still are hungry because there's nothing of value there.
Yeah, indeed. Just about what you're saying about minerals. Again, so much food is produced by these mega producers, and through the practice of this mass agriculture, they've destroyed the soil that the food grows in. So sure, the food grows, but it doesn't have the minerals in it that our ancestors' food had from, say, pre-World War II era. And again, you're eating the tomato or whatever, but it's missing a lot of the vital nutrients that used to be in it. So that's why it is important to supplement your diet with a good multivitamin and something like what he's pointing out, magnesium. But you want to make sure you're getting your vitamins from good, reputable brands too, because not all vitamins are created equal. If it's a cheap vitamin to buy, it's probably cheap for a reason. Quality multivitamins probably going to be about $40 a bottle, and they'll probably last you about a month, maybe month and a half. And that might seem expensive because if you run the math on that, you're like, man, I'm spending $500 a year on vitamins. Well, here's the way to look at it, though. If you can figure out how to budget that and you're taking care of your body, that $500 investment in a year, it's going to help you live longer and likely avoid a lot of disease and illness that so many people are dying from at younger and younger ages that result in huge medical bills at the end of your life right as you pass away. Again, the average American spends over 90% of their medical expenses for their lifetime and the very closing part of their life just trying to hang on. And you don't want to become one of those statistics either. So go ahead, caller.
It's worth the money. Like you're paying yourself. It's just like, do you rent or do you try to own something? Like you're paying yourself back. So like buying things like that, like people have no problem buying video games, buying fucking whatever, but like spending money on themselves, like actually themselves, is just like a foreign concept for some reason. I get all my vitamins from Clive DeCarl, from like he's been on several of like Pro 777's podcasts as well. I like his content, his vitamins. You get a good amount for your money. Like I get a 500 like capsules of magnesium for like $160, and that lasts me almost like a year. And then you can take that stuff a lot more than they say as well. You know, like I've noticed like through like some of my grandparents when they've started to age that they start to give mega doses of vitamins to these people. You know, to try like mega doses of iron, mega doses of vitamin C, and like you can do that now. You know, and like during the COVID times and stuff like that, they were like literally recommending people don't take like vitamin D and vitamin C. It's like, it just blows my mind where like all this information is like right in front of people that they're being like lied to and manipulated, and they just can't see it and can't just do that small thing to better their health. And like, you can be the person that's healthy around all these people that are sick, and they can notice that you're not sick and they keep getting sick. And then you say something like avoid this or maybe, you know, question, you know, vaccine or this or that or the other thing. And then they look at you like you have 5 heads.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's incredible. You know, like whatever is popular isn't true. It's like an axiom I try to live by. If it's popular, it's probably not fucking true. So maybe you should avoid it.
Yeah, a lot of things that are popular in culture are actually not good for us. Indeed, indeed. Well, I appreciate the call and the advice. And yeah, if you guys want to look into magnesium, read about the different forms. If you have trouble sleeping at night, if you ever look at like sleep aids that are marketed, almost all of them, the first ingredient is magnesium glycinate. That's the one that helps your body relax and go to sleep. And again, when you're buying those expensive sleep aids, you usually don't need the expensive sleep aid if you just get the magnesium glycinate. Which isn't the cheapest thing either, but it'll be cheaper than the sleep aid. It pretty much works the same. So
100%. Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to talk about. Just focus on that one kind of thing. Magnesium. Please don't take like painkillers, get addicted to painkillers. Just try the magnesium spray. It's like $8 for a bottle. It'll last you forever. It'll take away like restless leg syndrome. It'll take away like nerve ending pain, arthritis. Just look into it. That's all I got to say. Thank you for your time, man.
All right. Take care, man. Yeah, a lot of things, having the right nutrients in your body can definitely solve the problem. Let's go out to 812. What's up, 812? 213, you're next. 812, you're on.
Zach, how's it going?
It's going all right.
Hat-trick hero here. I called the Chris Carter hat-trick on May 16th earlier this year, so noticed Gaudreau died today, so I know there's a lot connected with that, and I've got some opinions, but we'll keep it health and wellness. So it's been a crazy experience with my life, and I'm glad you're talking about this, and I hope one day when you've got the news network, this can be one of the divisions potentially that's just running around the clock, you know, that people are constantly dropping good info like this last guy here about the magnesium. And this is one of those things that when I was growing up, I was something of a late bloomer and never really had a metabolism, even though I tried really, really hard. And I would get to a point where I felt, you know, in shape and was doing well, but it wasn't until I was about 19 that things really took off for me. And I was able to, you know, really train my metabolism, like you said, by running every single day, just getting in the habit of running and learning how to breathe, which is the foundation to all exercise, is your oxygen intake. And by doing those things, and really actually at the time of learning that, I was actually on a government provided diet, which was really difficult to get certain nutrients. And for instance, I'd have nosebleeds almost every day for 2 months due to a lack of iron. And as soon as I ate my first red meat, those symptoms went away. And then there was another time when I was 21 that I actually got on a very natural diet after living in the city for a while, and was able to begin to train my metabolism again to get down to a very lean form and able to run long distances and able to have regeneration ultimately in your joints, which are probably the most important thing. That's why your muscle support is your joints, in fact. And, you know, all these things, they always come back to the same thing, which is balance, and it's balance in your life. And I hear people talk about being vegetarian or being, you know, carnivore diet, and there's something for everybody. Once you find your thing, you'll know, and your thing might not last forever either. it might only be a thing for a few years, and that might be a good thing for you then, and you can go on and change it. But things always change. I noticed within the last year alone, I went and spent a lot of time indoors, 12 hours a day, on the computer, not getting enough sunlight, and then got a job cutting grass. The next thing I know, I'm getting 12 hours of direct sunlight a day. I can't even sleep anymore because I've got so much vitamin D, So for me, it's a full-blown experience, and there's a lot of things that your body can use to break down into the fundamental ingredients that your body needs to do what it needs to do. And everybody has a different thing, and there are some things you have to stay away from. There's things you just can't take on, right? Like a lot of these oils that are in everything. There's oils in the chips and all the fried foods, and there are oils that you probably don't need to be taken in, that there's really no nutritional value in them. Your body really can't break it down in a big way. It goes straight into fat. And I mean, this is definitely a big deal. This is something that you never need to stop researching. As of lately, I've just taken a lot more to eat vegetables and focusing on getting cleaner carbs, focusing on, where your meat is coming from. So I noticed that all the zombies running around, all the crazies, all the people that are ungrounded from reality, they're too high. They don't have the hormonal regulation available to them to make the good decisions they need to make. And it's really becoming pretty critical, actually, in a lot of people's lives. I can't tell you how many I'm 28, and I've seen so many relationships absolutely destroyed because of not having foundational nutrition. And it's things like drinking, overeating, or not ever valuing exercise, not going outside, doing these real fundamental things. So, it's something that's going to go on for everybody all the time. I've always been kind of a fatty myself, someone that could always eat. But when I grew up kind of poor, when I went to the buffet when I was a kid, I went straight to the salad bar, and I got the biggest plate of salad I could possibly get. And I got as much clean carbs as I could get. And that's just what I wanted to do. And your body runs really well off those things. And some people's probably run well off others. So keep looking out, find what you can find, do what you can do. It's tough for everybody. Water is also probably the most important thing out of all of this. You can't really get anywhere without good water. So whatever you got to do to get good water, it's worth looking into.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what I got though, man. I like what you're doing. I hope to see things take off. I mean, you've been around 10 years. What's another 10 years look like? And we do got that nutrition. So things are looking crazy. They're turning up. Feels like time's speeding up, but maybe it's just perception. So,
all right.
That's what I got.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. You have a good day.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Oils, vegetable oil. Ugh. Don't use vegetable oil. See, that's the problem with a lot of processed foods too. It's like the caller a minute ago brought up almonds. He says he'll only buy almonds if it's just almonds. But he said if there's added ingredients, he won't eat it. And that's a good move because when they add on the extra ingredients, they put look at it. Any flavored almonds or any flavored nuts, period, or just a lot of flavored things, not just almonds, but just so common with processed foods. Like you're at the store, there's the plain almonds, and then there's the ones next to it that are smoked, sea salt, whatever other flavors they're going to have there. Look at the ingredients. It's going to say vegetable oil right after the almonds. That's going to be the next ingredient, vegetable oil. See, that's bad. Vegetable oil is bad, bad, bad. But that's what they make stick on the salt or whatever other flavor. So, I'm not going to lie. I love those packaged almonds that got sea salt on them, the smokehouse flavor. I love those personally, but they're not good for you. So it's better to just eat the plain almonds that don't have the oil on them. These things are important to know that that vegetable oil is highly carcinogenic. That's a toxic thing that's in a lot of process. I mean, that's why the processed foods, it's better to not eat them. Okay, and thank you very much, Marilyn Miller. The New York thing, I really would like to be there. It's I kind of started to run the idea by Sweet Lady the other night, and she was like looking at me like I was insane. It's just hard over here, especially now that she's pregnant right now. I want to make it happen, but I got to be honest, it's not looking too good. Thank you very much for your donation, though. That's super generous. And 13 Serpents. Yes, I've absolutely heard about the blood type diet. And my problem is I don't know what my blood type is. My mom and dad don't know what my blood type is. I haven't went and got a blood type test. I do think there's definitely something to that. Like Sweet Lady, she did start to have some dental problems when she was eating vegan for a few years. So she was convinced it was eating vegan that messed up her teeth and gums for a period of time. Maybe it was. I know personally for me, when I eat vegan, I have like unlimited energy. It works well for me. The only thing bad I can say about vegan, and it's not really that bad, it was just an adjustment. I didn't notice it because it happened over a period of time. But when I became vegan, I was losing weight because I wasn't consuming as many calories. And one of my friends looked at me, he's like, dude, you look like a skeleton. I actually looked at myself that day after, I was like, damn, I have gotten pretty skinny. And I didn't have a scale in my place, but then so I made a point to go find a scale and weigh myself, and I weighed 25 less pounds. I still weigh the same as what I weighed when I was in high school. I weigh 165 pounds right now. That was my weight in high school. That's my weight today as a 41-year-old man. But I was down to 140 pounds, and my friend who hadn't seen me in a minute said I look like a skeleton. And I didn't look that bad, but I was thin. And then I made a point to just up the intake of food, and that seemed to solve the problem. But even though I'd lost the weight, I still felt good. And again, I just had this unlimited energy. I was living in Arizona when I first transitioned to vegan, and you get tons of vitamin D down there. It felt like I didn't even need sleep for a minute. But yeah, I do think there's something to the blood type diet. It would make sense based on our ancestors. You're from a part of the world, like you're from a frigid ice environment. Your ancestors might have only been eating bison. You know, there isn't much vegetation because it's so cold up there. Not that too many people's ancestral heritage traces back to something like that, but for some people, it might be something like that. And that's where this whole idea of the blood type diet comes from. So I do think there is something to that. And again, to take advantage of that, you'd have to at least know your blood type. And that's a reminder too, that what works for somebody isn't necessarily going to work for you. You have to experiment with your diet and your own self to find out what's working. How's your energy level? When I intermittent fast, some days, for whatever reason, I feel myself start to get a little bit groggy. And when that does happen, I just know that it's because my blood sugar is getting low, because maybe I didn't eat enough food the day before and I've been fasting again. So my body's, and then when that's the case, you just got to get some calories in and then it's like, oh, there, that grogginess just went away just like that. So, and then Nathan said, check out the book, Eat to Live by Joel Furman. I actually haven't read that one either. So appreciate that, Nathan. Let's go out to 213, then 470, then 772. What's up, 213?
Oh, what's up, Zach? How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Listen, interesting topic, man. Yeah, I'm here in LA, man, and I really can only speak for I'll say what they call African American or Black. I can only speak from that background, and then I'm telling you, our diet is, it's really the number one cause of death, in in our communities. I believe this, and I've had my background, a little bit of my background is that, I didn't really start having health issues. I'm 45 now, and I'll be 46 in less than a week, actually. But I didn't really start having problems, health issues, because I'm very athletic. Was all through high school, very athletic. I'm about 6'5". I usually tinker around 200 pounds, 200 to 210 or so. But yeah, man, I really do think that the food, it's a lot of food related issues dealing with the Black communities, and I think that some of our even our holidays, everything it's revolved around food, all the partying, and I mean, anything that we do, it's all food based and food related. And, but again, man, when I started having issues, I was told that I had high blood pressure. This was about right before I turned 40, like 39 years old, I had all that once. I was feeling it too. I was definitely feeling some type of way. And, I went to the doctor and they told me that, listen, you have hypertension, you're pre-diabetic, and your cholesterol level is pretty high. So, they offered me medication. I never been the type that, take medication or like taking medication. So, I've always tried to find ways around that. And yeah, man, they offered me a blood pressure medicine. And my first question to the doctor was like, how long would I have to take this? And, he told me I would have to, continue taking it. He said, well, once you start taking it, you got to continue taking it because your body gets used to it and whatnot. But I just couldn't see myself doing that, man. And I decided then that I was going to make that change, and I really made a hard change in the beginning where I just like pretty much stopped eating just all fruit diet and juicy, and I did that for like 30 days, 40 days, and yeah, like you said, people told me, oh yeah, you're getting skinny, you're getting thin, but my body was really cleansing itself. It was getting rid of all those years of abuse, but yeah, I've been on a plant-based diet for nearly about 6 years now, about 6 years. Yeah, been on a plant-based diet, man, and just watching the ingredients, watching all the ingredients. You have to look at ingredients, and even being even just trying to go to farmers markets instead of the grocery stores, and I can tell a difference in the food when I do that. I go to the farmers market every week. Basically, it's my grocery shopping, and plant-based diet has done me very well. Done me very well. But yeah, I really think that it's in my like I said, I'm speaking for people in my community, man. And I was born and raised here in LA. And I tell you, man, I'm like the only one I know that's even on this. And I think that it's helped to wake me up to certain things. It's how I found you. Like a few years ago, I was on this diet and I ran across you in like maybe 2021 or 22, end of 21. But yeah, just waking up to things like the fluoride in the water, the fluoride in the toothpaste, and I think that changing my diet, it did decalcify my pineal gland a bit and allow me to see other things, including gematria, the work you do.
Indeed, 100%. So your blood pressure was your initial clue that something was wrong with your health. It was too high, and I'm guessing it's because you had too much sodium in your diet.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, Zach, it's soul food. All the holidays are, it's based around food. Like anything we do, like any kind of gathering, that we have in our communities, it's all food based, man. Everything is about the food or alcohol, or either we're drinking, or I think that's how we bond, because now that I've taken on this diet and this lifestyle of even not drinking, I've taken on that, and I've become so distant with my family and even friends, man, because it's like, hey, like, what are we going out for? You don't really drink, or where are we going to eat for? You don't really eat any of this stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, I've grown a great distance with family and friends because of it, and I've also tried to, like, I've tried to show them ways of, I've even cooked food for my family and had get-togethers and said, hey, let's try this, and everybody to try it, and they, some of them like it, and but eventually they've been indoctrinated, man, so they eventually fall back into the same habits and continue with the stuff that's easy to grab, easy to access, you know what I mean? And the fast food, it's the biggest industry, man. So yeah, man. But I've also seen, like with my in-law family, like my uncles, I want to have an uncle, Zach, that lived, I have one uncle that lived past 60 and it was only like 61, I mean, in my lifetime. But, you know, and all of it's been, of course they drank and some of them smoked and whatnot. But most of it's been, you know, gout and heart disease and strokes and cancer. And you know what? And even my mom, she had breast cancer. This was a while ago, it was like 15 years ago or whatnot. But you know, she had to get her breast removed. She had to go through a lot of surgeries, man. And you know, fortunately, I still have my mom here with me. But it's still been very hard to get her to change her diet, man. Even though, like I said, she likes some of the things, but she still, you know, she still gets caught up in the holidays and with family, and they want her to cook, and you know, so she goes right back to the same foods, and you know, and I try to get her to realize, like, you know, you've been on medication for all this time, 15 years, and you're still on medication, and what is it doing for you? It hasn't helped. The medication doesn't help. You have to find another way around it. I mean, and it's issue after issue after issue, and of course, you know, with the jabs, they all got them. I am like the only one that didn't get it because I was able to see, you know, clearly right through that, through the pandemic, man. But yeah, man, it's been a struggle, man. I've lost a lot of family members, even family members who I've you know, extended my hand to and tried, like when they were sick, when they were ill, I told them, like, listen, you can change your diet this way. If you change your diet, listen, I promise you this, that. But you know, they won't. I've had my aunties tell me, you know, like she told me straight up, like, listen, I'm not giving up my McDonald's on this day and that day. I'm just not giving it up. And you know, unfortunately, that auntie is not here with me. And I have a couple of other aunties, man. One who's still ill now, and another one that passed away. And I've tried to help, you know, my family with their issues, man. But nobody's really taking it serious enough for me to be able to, you know, have some kind of effective change on them.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. I remember when I started eating healthy, everyone in my life made fun of me, and I just look back and I'm like, see, that's what's going on. They got everybody thinking backwards when it comes to nutrition.
Absolutely. And yeah, it does come from the indoctrination. I mean, we're taught young to indulge in, you know, pancakes and eggs and sausage in the morning when, you know, this stuff is just it's gonna put you back to sleep, man. You know what I mean? And like you, I try to do the intermittent fast. Well, I do it. I most of the time, I'm done eating by 8 o'clock at night. And, you know, I won't eat again until after 12 the next day. I try to do 16 hours, you know, with nothing in my system. And then I eat in an 8-hour window. And I think, yeah, we're eating too much. Like we probably shouldn't be eating 3 times a day, you know, and especially depending on what we eat nowadays. You know, most people don't, you know, even when I do get up in the morning and I have my first meal, you know, I try to start with water first before I put anything in my system. I want to put some water there. And then the next step is fruit. At 12, after 12 or whatnot, I'm starting with fruit. And then when I have an appetite, 4 in the evening, 5 in the evening, you know, I'll have some dinner, and it'll be a plant-based diet. And you know, it's not just about being plant-based, because you know, you can't be eating processed plant-based foods and thinking that you're going to be healthy. You know, that's why ingredients is important. You know, stick to natural foods, and even with the meats nowadays, like, yeah, listen, I see that my grandparents and great aunts, and they lived a lot longer. They lived a lot longer in our communities because the meat wasn't so hampered and tainted. You know what I mean? And people grew their own. You know, they had their own things growing in the backyard, plants and fruit. But you don't see that anymore in much of America, especially the inner cities. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And again, I mean,
but I don't want to hold you too long.
You're not, but I used to teach in South Seattle, and you know, most of the children in that school are darker complected. And again, I'll remind people that average lunch if a child even got sent at lunch, was a bag of chips, a granola bar, and a sugary Capri Sun. It was the most common packed lunch. And part of the reason people are eating like that is because they don't have money, and that's what they can afford, and that's what their kids have learned to eat. So they know that's the food that they'll put in their mouth and actually eat it. But when you grow up and that's how you learn to eat, a bag of Cheetos and a candy bar and a sugary drink, that becomes a lifelong habit. And just like you said, there's a reason that I remember they used to show us those stats when I was in school, life expectancy per race, and you'd always see the shortest life expectancy was the darker complected people. And again, that's why for all of my darker complected friends out there, there are so many agendas being waged against you guys. You're the ones that have to work the hardest to overcome them. And that stuff's not by design. It's just like when I taught at South Seattle. I lived next to a Safeway. I didn't live in South Seattle. I lived in the nicer part of town, but I taught on the south end. There's a Safeway. A Safeway's a grocery store out here. There's a Safeway next to my house where I lived. The produce was fine there. But the Safeway next to the school that I taught out in South Seattle, it was like what the produce that they got must have been all the ones that was almost spoiled. Like the kind of stuff that they normally send to like a grocery outlet or something. But I was just like, it's so sad. And this, you can't even get good produce here in this neighborhood. It's like already spoiled. And there's so many obstacles, but like you said, you're going to the farmer's market. So these are the kind of things you have to make a point to do. You have to go to the place where the better food is, that's affordable and healthier. So I commend you for making those choices.
No doubt, Zach. And yeah, man, listen, I mean, the farmer's market, people think it's so much more expensive. It's really not. It's really not that more expensive. And even, you know, at the end of the farmer's market, a little tip for people who do go to it, like, you know, they have to, at the end of the farmer's market, when they have to get rid of all the food because they really can't take a lot of that food back to the farms, you know, they start giving it away for cheaper prices at the end. I do it all the time, man. You know, I make it work for myself, and I don't really consider, you know, spending money on like I said, this is your health. It's your vehicle. Health is it really is your wealth, because, you know, you wouldn't be able to enjoy life and money, you know, you don't, if your health is not, you know, in the right state, you know what I mean? You'll be miserable. So yeah, man. And also, listen, Zach, I'm a fan of your work, man. Like I said, I found you a few years ago, and I really do want to find some type of way to be more involved, man. I mean, you know, yeah, donate, you know, but I want to find some type of way, man, to be more involved with what you got going on, man, because I do follow it, and I definitely I don't want to say believe, because I don't believe in that word, but yeah, I do like what you're doing out here, man. I want to find more ways to be involved in that.
Well, I appreciate you being involved today. Great call. Thank you.
No doubt. Thank you, Zach.
All right, have a good one. Yeah, it's just, and it's sad, right? Because we've all grown up kind of in the same system where we never got any proper education on food and taking care of ourselves. And then you see just, you know, next thing you know, you're a parent and you're raising children without proper education. And but somehow it's just deteriorating as time goes on. That's why we have a serious, I mean, look, the stat is nearly half of children are obese. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. 470, what's up? 470. Hello? 470. 470, are you trying to say something?
You can hear me?
There you go. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, my fucking headphones, I guess my mic just fucking went out all of a sudden. You know, doing shit like this. But I just wanted to call in about the moderation shit, because it really does make my head it really does make my fucking head hurt when people on the internet be like, oh, well, you know, you got to eat this and you know, you can enjoy a piece of cake, or you can enjoy some fast food once in a while. You can drink once in a while for moderation. And it's just like they criticize people that completely remove these things from their diet, and they say, well, it's good to enjoy things in moderation. You would never apply that same mindset to anything else that we see as drugs. You would never say, oh, well, enjoy some heroin. in moderation, enjoy some crack in moderation, meth, enjoy this. And obviously, I'm not saying that like a fucking Snickers bar is gonna do necessarily the same amount of damage to your life or to like your mental and shit like that as heroin and crack. But it's the same concept, because just like dude was saying in the call, he you know, he had a mom that had breast cancer, and she can't stop eating with. Sorry, I'm sick right now, but I'm gonna go into that later on. But she had a mom that has breast cancer, and she still can't stop eating what she's eating. That's how my mom is. Thank God she didn't have cancer. She has like gout. And one of the main things with gout is when you know, high fructose from high fructose corn syrup, especially from sodas and all this shit, the breakdown of that results in uric acid in the body. At least when you consume fructose from a whole fruit or something like that, the whole fruit a lot of times will have vitamin C to offset uric acid levels. Even when the fructose breaks down into uric acid, the vitamin C in the fruit will offset the uric acid levels. But in shit like sodas, it doesn't happen. But my mom loves fucking soda, even though she has, you know, congestive heart failure and stuff like that. She can't stop drinking soda. And what on earth? So I want people to think about that, because only someone who's addicted would do something that they know is harming their body. There's no other logical reason. The only reason why you're putting this shit in your body, even though you know what it's doing to your organs, to your mental, you know what it's doing, but you can't stop drinking the shit because you're addicted. That's why people are in these long ass lines at Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. It's because this shit is a drug. It's not even fucking food. You can leave a McDonald's, you can leave fucking French fries out on the counter for years, and they won't even, because it's not real food. It's a drug. It's a concoction. It's you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like when people have to really think about this shit and realize these things are drugs. It's not possible for most people to eat these things in moderation, because they're not meant to be eaten in moderation. Why do you think it is such an epidemic in the first place when these things get introduced? Cigarettes, alcohol, fast food, sodas. Most people don't eat this shit in fucking moderation. They eat it and then they get hooked on it and they can't stop fucking eating it. And that leads me into my next point, because I know you heard me coughing. And usually I don't get bro. The last time I was sick was like the end of 2022. I haven't been sick in almost 2 years. I haven't had shit, a cold, any of that. No, 2 years. You know, of course I had stuff with the IBS and stuff that I talk about. But as far as like getting a cold, I haven't had that shit happen to me in almost 2 years. But what's crazy is that, and what I'm thinking about is that in the last month, I've been eating a lot of bread. Usually I don't eat fucking bread, but I did end up eating like bread and sourdough. And bread is like, it's like one of the most addictive things nowadays for most people, like bread with butter and all this shit. I started eating a fuck ton of bread, fuck ton of wheat. And now all of a sudden I'm sick. And I was eating bread like every day for the past 2 weeks because I introduced sourdough bread. I was like, damn, like this shit, I miss bread because I had had it so long. And I just started eating a fuck ton of this shit. And now I'm sick again. I have a cold. And I don't think that's a coincidence, because even when people in my family are sick and I'm around them, I can be around my sister all the time, mom, all the time. I will literally not get sick. Like, my sister would get sick multiple times a year, but I would never get sick. I'd be around her. I would never get sick. But now all of a sudden I'm sick after eating a lot more grains or refined grains than I usually do. And I think that's like the most, like obviously the candy and the junk food and all that other stuff, that's like obvious sodas. But after that, I think it's the refined grains definitely come after, in my opinion. Try eating, people talk about, oh, well, you know, plant-based stuff. Try eating the meat without the bread. Try eating these things without, because a lot of times, most times we eat meat, it's like a hamburger. It's in a bun that's made with these seed oil, vegetables and stuff like that. And I really do think if people just remove refined grains from their diet, along with anything made with vegetable oils. So like they would just feel so much better. I feel such shit after eating bread and having a lot of acid reflux. And it's like bread is like one of the main things. When I remove the bread, I feel just much better. When I only get my carbs from fruit, I feel just so much better. And then that's the thing with like minerals and stuff like that is that, people, they, because the dude was, talking about magnesium and stuff like that. And I think the most important thing when it comes to magnesium is to make sure that you're not eating foods that deplete your body of magnesium. People don't talk enough about that because they might be taking magnesium, but if you're still eating refined grains, especially things like nuts and seeds, a lot of these foods have like anti-nutrients, phytic acid and oxalic acid that will rob your body of magnesium, zinc, all these different minerals. You have to be careful with that as well. And it's the same thing with B vitamins and vitamin C, water soluble vitamins, because a lot of the refined grains, they'll deprive your body of that shit as well. Because, and that's why a lot of people who even people who eat meat, they still deficient in B12 because the way that we're cooking the meat is it's actually really overcooked. We think it's normal, but it's not. And that's why, like how dude went in, the last dude went in, he was talking about how we barbecue. We char the shit out of the meat we eat. I don't believe in going plant-based. I don't believe like in needing to go plant-based to be healthy. I think it's just about the quality of what you're eating. Some things like obviously like the refined grains, but like things like meat is stuff that we've been eating for the longest. And he even said like, his family members, his family members that lived a lot older than him, his older ones, his like great aunts and shit, they still ate meat, but the quality of the meat they ate was exceptionally better. And that's what people have to focus on doing, is eating the meat from healthy animals, not factory farmed animal products that are fed shit, corn and soy, grains. It balances the omega-6 to omega-3. They have to eat their natural diet. Cows need to eat grass. Chickens need to eat bugs and worms. Pigs, same shit. A lot of people have this thing where it's like, oh, I don't eat this meat, but I eat that meat because they've been brainwashed to think it's healthy. It all comes down to what that specific animal had as its diet, that the animal eat its natural diet. People have been brainwashed to believe that red meat is going to give them cancer, but so they go and only eat chicken. And then, but the problem is the chicken has a more polluted feed than and more, the way that they metabolize the grains is it causes them to have even more balanced omega-6 to omega-3 ratio than the beef. So actually, from a conventional standpoint, beef will be the less polluted, but obviously, I know that it's obviously good to focus on the quality and the health, of the animal before you ate it, and that's what the problem is really. And I've tried going vegan 3 times and shit like that, but for my gut health, I could never like stay vegan. My digestion as of now, it does the best on honestly when like eggs and meat and stuff like it's the majority of it with like certain fruits and stuff like that. I saw people. I just wanted to mention this because I saw people saying that like meat rots in your body in the chat. And again, it's a lot of misinformation that a lot of people try to spread around fucking meat. Meat does not rot in your colon. That is a myth. I've already looked into that. I have had digestive issues myself. I know for a fact that just isn't the fucking case. I have a destroyed gut microbiome, as I've talked about on my channel plenty of times. The only foods that have a propensity to rot in your colon are only certain plant foods, and wheat. Funny enough, is one of them. Potatoes, oats, and cruciferous vegetables, like vegetables that have like really, really high amounts of fiber. meat doesn't rot in your colon. Meat is mostly digested in the small intestine. When foods rot in your colon, those are the foods that your body relies on microbes to break down. So when there's a imbalance of the right type of microbes or the ratio of microbes that you're supposed to have to successfully break down those foods in your colon, the foods that make it your colon, you're just gonna sit there. And they didn't get, they're too fibrous to be digested in the small intestine. Fibrous is indigestible. That's why they don't that's why they don't call it a carb, even though biochemically it is. But fiber is indigestible. So like the more fiber, that's why they said it adds bulk to your stool. It literally translates to roughage, the roughest part of the plant. So when you eat foods that are highest in fiber and they go through your small intestine undigested because of that, because most of our digestion is for the small intestine, it makes it to our colon. We need the microbes to break that shit down. So if you have a problem with your gut microbiome, then those foods will rot in your gut. Not saying that if you eat potatoes, it'll rot in your gut automatically, but they have the propensity to, because if you are somebody that has a destroyed gut microbiome or compromised gut microbiome, it will that's what's gonna happen, because you don't have the right microbes to be able to efficiently break it down. Same thing with cruciferous vegetables and all these other foods that are really, really high in fiber, like cauliflower and broccoli. This is why a lot of people get smelly gas and stuff like that. When we literally went vegan and I was eating a bunch of carrots and broccoli and cauliflower, I had the worst smelling gas. My stomach was literally so bloated that it was making really, really loud noises, to the point where I couldn't even stay asleep, because the noises my stomach would make was so loud. I shit you not, but that's because I had a destroyed gut microbiome. So those foods were rotting in my colon, and that's when I started to learn about all this. But I just wanted to clear that up. The main thing I want people to take away is this whole moderation shit. Like it's just like the whole gaslighting of that people try to do to us when we don't eat something or we don't want to drink, and it's alienating, because you gotta do this to hang out. But problem is, you're gonna feel like shit if your body's not used to this shit in a while. But we just say, oh, use it in moderation. No, we need to understand that these things are drugs. That's the reason why so many people are addicted to eating this shit. Even after they have health issues, sugar is a drug. It's a fucking drug. If we're not taking it seriously.
Here's when I noticed sugar was like a drug. It's when I was working at the group home. I noticed anytime it was one of the children's birthdays, they'd get cake and ice cream. And instantly they would just all be acting out all these behavioral disorders. I was like, look at how the cake and ice cream triggers these children. I mean, this is crazy. And yeah, again, I mean, just most people just put way too much sugar in their body from a young age until the time they die. And a lot of people way too much salt too, because of all the processed foods. I mean, that's the main preservative on the counter. So if you're eating nothing but stuff that's in a package, in a can, you're just getting way too much salt in your diet.
Exactly. And people do need sodium. The problem is we have so much sodium in our diet that we don't have enough of the other minerals like magnesium, potassium to balance it out. It's the fact that there isn't a balance of these things. We have way too much sodium, no magnesium, not enough potassium. That's what most people are deficient in, especially magnesium. It's not a perfect balance. Even when you buy electrolytes, it used to always fuck me up when people at my work would like be drinking Gatorade and be like, yeah, I'm drinking this for the electrolytes, and it'd be hot. It's just like, bro, you're getting more sugar than anything, and it doesn't even come with magnesium.
Right. Hear about that. For people who feel like they need to be drinking Gatorade and Powerade and all this, also cut out all the energy drinks. That stuff's not good for you, but you can actually buy electrolyte packages that you add to water that don't have sugar in them and have like the minerals that you're talking about. That's the way to go. Research the high quality packages that you just add in your water. Much better electrolyte option. Jay, I got to wrap it up, and there's a couple more people. So, hey, get better.
No problem.
Yeah, get healthy. I appreciate the
I
call.
was done anyway.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Feel better.
Yeah, well.
All right. And again, he has a unique health situation. He learned that his mother did not breastfeed him, only got formula, and it messed up his gut bacteria. And he's trying to figure out the way to remedy that problem with diet now as a young man in his early 20s. 772 and then 805, and then I got to wrap this thing up. Yeah, what's up?
So I learned something pretty interesting about cholesterol a few weeks ago. There was this scientific study that got buried. So originally, cholesterol was a certain scientist. He wanted to make cholesterol seem like it was bad for people, and like the higher your cholesterol was, the more likely you were to die. And he basically picked specific countries that he could make fit his numbers. And there's another study that they suppressed that they actually found that the higher your cholesterol is, the lower your mortality rate is. And my dad had gone to the hospital like in September for he had like a drinking thing, and he was eating kind of unhealthy at the time, but he got better, and he basically eats, like now he just eats like mostly meat, like homemade meat, like burgers. And what they checked his arteries and stuff, and he had of course he had high cholesterol, and his arteries were completely clean, even though he would like eat meat every single day. He didn't have any plaque or any buildup on any of his arteries. And statins, which are like the cholesterol medication, they fuck up your hormones. Like testosterone and estrogen,
Here, just pause real quick. Pause. All right, we're probably not supposed to give out medical advice, but if you're on statin, that thing has so many negative side effects. My dad's wife was on statin, and she had like this crippling pain in her hands. And sweet lady said, "Oh, just stop taking statin," and I bet that goes away. Week later, she's like, "Wow, I feel as good as new." That's what, just all these pharmaceutical drugs. A huge percentage of this country is on statin, and it is no good. The thing about cholesterol, I need to ask Sweet Lady again. She always talks about this. I forget what it is. If you can have like super high cholesterol as long as, what is it? Your HDL level's high. I forget what it is, and then it offsets, and it doesn't really make a difference. So that's the thing about, if your cholesterol is real high, you need something else to be high, and then it doesn't matter. If all you ate was eggs, it's a ton of cholesterol. That food has more cholesterol than anything. There's something else you have to raise in your diet, and then it offsets. But I have to double check what that is.
Yeah, it statins also cause I think it was either dementia or Alzheimer's, and like a lot of people have had an experience where they had Alzheimer's, and like they started statins, they got Alzheimer's, and then they got off statins, and like immediately, like that day, their Alzheimer's went away. And I knew this old lady. She was like 80-something years old, and she had grown up on a farm, and she ate mostly meat and raw milk and stuff like that when she was a kid. She didn't eat very healthy when she was later on in her life, especially by the time that around the time that she died, she was eating like mostly like canned food and also really unhealthy food. But she did eat healthy when she was young, and so she did. When she died when she was 85, and she could still walk, she was still like strong. And actually the injection was actually killed her. But also my two great grandmothers, they're both Colombian, and they both died one died at like 96 or 97, and that grandmother that died, that was my great grandmother, and she was actually 300 pounds overweight when she died, and she had been overweight for a long time, and she smoked when she was younger. But she would eat just like hearty Colombian food. And I had went to Colombia like 10 years ago. And the food there, I stayed there for a month, and the food there was like all incredible. Like all the food was like a lot like cleaner. I don't know how to describe it, but they don't add a lot of the chemicals that they do here. And like she ate sugar and stuff, and obviously she ate a lot. She was pretty overweight, but she still lived really long. And my other grandmother, also in Colombia, she also lived to I think she's still alive. She's 99 now. She celebrated her 99th birthday. And, she also eats Colombian food, that like Colombian meat. And for me, whenever I have like meat and burgers and stuff, obviously like natural stuff, the good ground beef, I feel really like clear. I don't know how to describe it, but like I can just, I have like my thoughts are clear. I have like less brain fog when I eat meat. I basically don't have any brain fog. And I don't have any caffeine. I don't have soda. I don't have coffee or tea or anything. And when I'm not depressed, I have like a ton of energy, even though I haven't had any caffeine. I don't really have any energy stuff. But yeah, cholesterol is like a huge scam. The higher your cholesterol is, basically the longer you live. But almost all, actually, I think also your mitochondria.
Again,
also
that's not exactly
energy
true.
from
That's not
cholesterol.
exactly true. There's, again, you got to have the one thing to offset, because a lot of Americans have really high cholesterol, and it can also contribute to heart disease. So, I mean, there's another component to what you're saying, but it is true that you can have very high cholesterol and be healthy, as long as I got to do my research on that one. Anyway, I do got to wrap it up, but I appreciate the share.
All right. Yeah, I'll see you.
All right,
Bye.
All right, one more, and then it's time to get dinner going over here. I keep cutting it close. What's going on? 805.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, because I'm walking. I'm walking in my house. I'm walking in my house
I hear you.
on my air assault. And it's important to stay healthy, to eat well, because you never know when it's going to be taken from you. January 2017, I buried my husband after 36 years of marriage. December 26, 2017, I nearly died in a car accident. I was at a red light. Guy did a U-turn, hit me head on. And what saved my life was because I'm a step aerobics person. I did CrossFit, bodybuild, and I was just finished my deep tissue massage, and I just finished a colonic, and I just had an ionic foot bath there in Ventura, California, and right there on Oyster and Harbor on the way back home. I usually take my daughters with me. I said, no, you stay home. And I said, I'm going to be by myself to meditate. So at the red light, I pushed my seat all the way back. And out of nowhere, this guy, no car insurance. I'm the fourth victim in 3 different states, never had insurance. So the seatbelt nearly sliced me in half. The fireman said 1 more inch, you've been upper body, lower body. Took 2,000 staples to put my body back. Crushed my right leg, broke my left jaw, broke my left arm, collapsed my left lung, moved my heart over right 2 centimeters to the right. You facing me, be your left. My right leg has to be amputated. But because I also did kickboxing and squatting and just a lot of hardcore stuff, jump squats and stuff like that, barbells, the doctor says, we can't take your leg because you got a lot of density and you got a lot of good blood flow and you got a good heartbeat, a pulse in it. So anyway, I was in the hospital for 60 days. I had 6 different surgeons. One just flown in from Europe to put my foot back together, my leg rather. And it took 4 surgeries for it because they have to do it, wait 6 months, do it again, wait 6 months, do it again, screws, nuts, bolts, rivets, stuff like that. Then I'm in and out of hospital that whole time. And one time I ended up getting sepsis. And so anyway, then that affected my eyesight and I was blind for like a week in the hospital. My kidneys were shutting down, liver and all that stuff. So my daughters, got a hold of my girlfriend, guy friends, and they were cooking liver for me. They brought it to the hospital in the blender. So I was drinking liver smoothies. But through it all, I never had blood pressure before or heart disease before because I grew up in the country in LaGrange, Texas, on a farm, shearing sheep and all that kind of good stuff. But I maintained that eating attitude of it's the 1800s. Eating foods like from the 1800s, no refrigeration needed, So this morning I had two bananas mashed up with avocado, 1 whole avocado. And then the other one I had I had a quarter cup of natural peanut butter, ground it up myself, in my food processor, no oil, and just mixed another half of avocado with that. And I just ate it on the teaspoon. And then when I was at the munchies, I ate 6 apples in slices. And then I'm good to go. And right now, but when you start out, and I was a breastfed baby, and I had 2 girls, 32 now and 27. They both breastfed. And they've always been into fitness, because I didn't know I was pregnant with the second one when I was competing. And they would always go to my classes, and they would eat what I eat. I showed them how to eat raw sweet potatoes. When they would go to school, I lived across the street from the school, so when it was raining, I took a big hot pot of soup over there. So I had carrots, fresh potatoes I chopped up and sliced up myself, and I'm going walking across the street in the crosswalk with my little mittens on, that's a Lucy homemaker, and sitting at the classroom table when it's raining, like at the lunch, and eating my kids' hot soup. Then I walked back. So they always had home cooked at school all the way through high school. But if you as a parent in charge of your household, your purchasing, your kitchen, your pots and pans, you set the precedence for your children, so when they grow up, they don't become statistics of needing medication to live their life. And still to this day, my oldest one is autistic, because I was in the Navy, so I ended up getting radiation poisoning. I worked on submarines back in 1972. So anyway, long story short, that was in my ovaries. But I didn't get kids until after I got married and after I finished my career. But long story short, they eat like I eat. Like my 32-year-old, she gets up every morning, 7 o'clock, and she gets on this air assault runner, and she walks for an hour. Then I have a road fitness bike. She gets over there for 30 minutes. Then I have dumbbells from 3 pounds to 30 pounds. She may lift those for I said, do your age. I always tell all my clients, I'm on my home now, but I said, do your age. He said, oh, what should I do? What am I this way? Do your age, 50, whatever your age is, do it in sit-ups, push-ups, knees, raise your knee, one hand at a time, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Do it. If you can't do jumping jacks, raise your arm. I can never run again. I said, they're going to amputate my leg. But I have these orthotic boots on. It's almost like a Robocop. They look like the Robocop boots. But if I take them off, I'm just crawling on hands and knees. So this is the only way I can walk or drive a vehicle. But it's so important before any disaster happens. I went from 16% body fat to 49% body fat or 52% body fat, because I was laid up all the time. Then the trauma within my blood cells and within my skin, I can't work out, I'm blind, my shoulder's broken, my hips is broken, my legs got me amputated. Then I have to go into a hyperbaric chamber for 30 days to try to stop the sepsis, and that didn't work. So so they send me back home with a nurse. But anyway, it's been since, like I said,
90 seconds.
December 26, 2017, and I'll be 67 on Sunday, September 1st. And to this day, I require nothing but soap and water, and cooking for myself, shopping for myself. And a lot of people talk about investments. Like up here in Ojai, I know a couple of farmers, a cattleman, and I know a rancher, a lady named Mary. She has a chicken farm, so I'll go buy I'll give her $100, I said, raise some chickens for me. And then the guy
60 seconds.
With the cow, I said, hey, let me buy one of your calves. Whether it be male or female. I said, well, how much you charge for a bull? He doesn't charge $100 for a bull. So I said, okay, I go to the bank and get a loan on the bull, so that way I don't have to tap my own money. And so I said, okay, when you get a bull, how much you charge for a cow? He said, oh, about $80,000. I said, no problem. So that way I got my bull and my cow, and they decided to mate. And I get some little cows crops going on. But anyway, I like where I live here, Ventura, California. And there's always some kind of festival going on. This weekend is a Hawaiian festival right there on Harbor and Seaward, up to the fairgrounds. And then next weekend up here at Wainini Beach, they have a Wainini Beach festival.
10 seconds.
And September 10th, 11th, and 12th, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's called the Seed Festival, SEED Festival. These are nothing but seeds of all vegetables from all over the earth. Different countries come in with their seeds and everything. And it's right here at the Ventura County Fairground, $15 a day or $30 for 3 days. But 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So if anybody's listening from the Ventura area, Ventura County, LA area, they can go up there Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 10th, 11th, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, the 10th, 11th, and 12th of September. But back to you gotta stay healthy. I had no idea. That's the first time I've ever been in the hospital. First time anything has been broke, because I had my baby standing up. I had a midwife and all that good stuff. But you have to stop eating like 2024. Eat like the 1800s. If they didn't have an icebox, then don't buy anything that requires an icebox. So that way you get your fruits and vegetables. It's good to have a refrigerator. I got one. Oh, and if you want to drink something, if you just can't tan water, there's two things I drink from two companies, and I don't get nothing for it. It's called Drink LMNT, LMNT.com, Drink LMNT. And the other one is Drink Kinetic, Kenetik. The LMNT is your salts, is your magnesium, your potassium, and your sodium. And so if you look by that, you can even get some free stuff when you order it. I don't get none, so I ain't got no codes put in it. And the other one is Kinetic, Kenetic. It's a ketone drink good for the brain. And you can drink up to 3 to 4 cans a day of that. And like I said, I'm on my walker, right, my Air Assault runner. I walk an hour. My daughter walks in the mornings, and I usually get on right after 11 o'clock. And then I do another hour in the evening because I got physical therapy 7 days a week, 5 days that the government pays for it, my insurance, and 2 days I have private, which is $140 an hour, but it's a mobility place in Camarillo. And I want to stay mobile. They teach me how to get up and off the toilet without breaking them. I already broke 3 toilets because I just flopped down because of the hip socket and all that good stuff. But you have to go back and eat. If you find stuff that doesn't require refrigeration, even if you cook from scratch, try to eat it all and don't put it in your refrigerator for the next day leftovers. That's the key right there. And stir fry everything, if you can. I don't even stir fry in olive oil or bacon grease, nothing like that. I just get a little water and steam, and with that little water to break down my arugula, to break down my other greens. I just stir fry and just steam it. Crack in my eggs if I eat eggs, stuff like that. Because, like I said, I'm a widow now. I got 2 kids. My face is all like it. You got to stay healthy. You got to stay healthy because if you don't, and like I have a ton of money, I ain't gonna lie, but I have an autistic daughter. So I can't spend stupid, because I know I want to make sure, and she has no relatives here in California. Her sister, I don't expect her to raise it until she's 27. She got her own life to lead. But just in case something happens to me, because like I said, I got about 15 more surgeries to go. Because my leg amputation is scheduled for 2028. But in the meantime, I got to stay fit, and I still want to take off another 75 pounds. I still get around. Like I said, I'm doing my lifting my weights. I'm in the gym. I'm in here at home. I'm at the track on the base. I'm at the track at the school. I'm always doing something. If I'm not asleep, then I'm doing something physical fitness or doing laundry. And that's physical. But anyway, you gotta stop listening to the television. I haven't seen a television. Well, my television's from the 1990s. I never had cable. I don't know what's the latest thing on TV. All I have is I do YouTube because my daughter turned me on to that while I was in the hospital. And it just, you gotta clear your mind of all this garbage and go back to the 1800s and eat that way and and just stay out of these fast food joints. Because the reason why I say if you got a little money or you got some people that got some money, pull your money together from resources. If you live near a country town and you have a man that got some cows, some chickens, or some sheep or ducks or turkeys, you go there and negotiate a deal with them. He'll even butcher them for you and flash freeze them, because they got butchers and all that stuff on the land. And get your meats that way, because you can see in the news lately they're talking about this artificial meat, this lamb, this kind of crazy stuff in the supermarket. Restaurants are allowed in the state of California to sell fake meat in the restaurants. So when you go there and get your steak and lobster, you don't know what to get.
Right.
So y'all better research on that. Look it up.
Friend, I appreciate all the information. I do got to hop off because I got to start dinner over here. But I'm sorry about the loss to your husband.
You keep it going now.
I appreciate your call.
Bless that baby.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
All right, thank you. You have a good day. DK Stonewood wants to get in real quick. We haven't heard from DK. DK, you got to be quick because I got to get off and start dinner. But hit us. Here's DK. He looks 20 years younger than he actually is, and he definitely knows how to take care of himself. Close us out.
Okay, I've been writing down some notes listening to your lives for the last few days, but I'm not going to go into that now. I'll just chime in just on the cholesterol since we're on that topic. Basically, your brain is like a huge hunk of cholesterol, and obviously the statin drugs are going to affect that. That's why it gives old people like adult autism, these dementia and Alzheimer's and such. But really, what's happening is, when you eat cholesterol, your body's waiting for the sun to come in through your eyes and trigger your body to pull cholecalciferol out of the bloodstream and turn it into vitamin D, which protects you from the sun and is responsible for a lot of other things that go on in the body. If you're not in the sun and you're eating, a decent amount of cholesterol, then the cholesterol is left floating around in the blood. And then when it's hit with these halide compounds like fluorine, chlorine, and what's in the water, and then it calcifies it inside the inside your pipes, your arteries and such. But if you were to be out in the sun enough, your body would be pulling out all the cholesterol and turning it into vitamin D, which you need, so you wouldn't be like trying to supplement with vitamin D. So literally, it's like wearing sunglasses and all these other things in the sun that cause you to have high cholesterol. And the whole HDL, LDL is, for the majority, of scam. It doesn't really have anything to do with that. Your body regulates all that if it's given the proper tools, like getting enough sunlight and such, and also exercise, of course, to cycle everything around. But that's pretty much the big scam on cholesterol. But all our cell walls are made out of cholesterol. Our hormones, the precursor is cholesterol. So, I mean, if your cholesterol is low, even without statin drugs, you're going to have issues. The statin drugs block all kinds of pathways and cause all kinds of other issues on other things in your body that, aren't even related, like you were saying. But that's what I recommend to people. Just make sure you get enough sun. Doesn't mean you have to be outside in the sun tanning necessarily, but you want a decent amount of your skin and you want the sun coming through your eyes. They block a lot of the stuff that's blocking the sun. Like, people don't realize clear glass and clear plastic is also like almost 100% UVA, UVB blocker. You're not getting like the full spectrum light through that. So even if you have contacts or reading glasses, like contacts are known to be the worst because it's right on your eye. It's a complete cover, and it's not letting in the full spectrum light that you need. So that's what I recommend on the cholesterol for people. But in general, obviously, the whole country needs to be outside more and exercise more.
Indeed. All right, DK, appreciate the additional information. Good to hear from you.
Hopefully I can call in soon, earlier in the show, so I can get through these few notes that I've made from the past few shows.
All right. Sounds good, man. We're doing more live streams, so it'll happen.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you soon,
Yeah.
Zach.
Take care. All right. And John says, maybe do a show on how to have a relationship with knowing about the knowledge we talk about right here. So essentially, how to not become a outcast when you care about things like the things we care about. Because, yeah, it is easy to become an outcast. That's a tough topic, but we can do it. We can do it. I can tell you what I've done. So we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. I'm way late on dinner time, but it was a good show, good topic. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. Again, we are at a record low support amount since we hit the pinnacle at the time we went out to New York City. Had it not crashed down, we, just like I said back then, we'd be doing this annually. So if you guys ever want to see that happen again, do need more people to support the work. If you can't afford to, I understand. But thank you to the people who do support. And until next time, True Seeker.